Stat 9 point, what are we at? 9.2? 9.2.1 sampling distribution. Well, I'm going to put it as 911 just because it is our day one of the notes part, even though it is underneath this space. Sampling distribution of sample proportions day one of the notes. I know it doesn't align in terms of what we have on there, but that's fine. So, first off, we have Tree over here, come on. We have population. So population, and I know this vocabulary word over here in terms of it says that entire set of individuals, but it is, I'm going to write it down as slightly different. This is everyone who we are interested in their response. This is different than a sample where it is the, what are we having over there? The portion, the subset, the portion of individuals who are studied from the population. So the problem here is we want to know about a certain population. How do students at RBA think about so-and-so? What do seniors believe about so-and-so? Now, it might be difficult for whatever the reasons. There might be too many people. It might be too long of a survey study question to get answers from everybody. So this introduces us to the concept of statistics where we, instead of asking everybody, which is called a, does anybody remember? When we ask everybody in the population, that's called a what again? It's been a while. A census. Census was that vocabulary from way back when. When we ask everybody, that's called a census. So when we go to every student, we give out a survey to everybody, we get responses from everyone. That's called a census. We can't do a census. We need statistics. So we take a sample. We don't ask everybody, but we try to ask as many people. Now, we want this sample should be random in order to be unbiased. All right, so that's important. We want it to be unbiased by taking something that is random. Now, for the population, all right, we have something called the population parameter. So whenever we say the word parameter, there is a hidden word that we don't say all the time because there's no, it's kind of like assumed that it is or it's known. So the parameter is really always the population parameter. So parameter, even though we don't say the words population parameter every single time, whenever we say parameter, we're referring to the population parameter. It is, we write the parameter that we are interested is called P, okay? The parameter is a lowercase p. Now, remember, what does an uppercase p mean? Probability. When we were writing those notations in our past unit, I said, write a capital P because a lower p means something different. Lower p means parameter, and the parameter is the proportion of blank from the blank, the not portion, proportion of. And I left it like this because you're going to have to write these words quite a bit. This is your STEM question. And I'm going to write it successes in quotation mark, because what we define, what are we looking for? What is a success? The proportion of
Successes from the failure.
success. But like in the example that we did, what was the proportion? What were we looking for? The proportion of what? The proportion of students who what?
Want to come back to school.
Wanted to come back to school for an extra year from the population, from RBA, from the school RBA, right? So that's our parameter. We also have the sample statistic. Sample, and again, we're not going to say the word sample in front of the word every single time, but whenever we say statistic, we're referring to the sample statistic, and this is, oh, we have it written here?
I have sample written and statistic separately.
It is the, I just want someone of those there. The estimate.
I can change them so they match.
No, I want them to be, I want them to be somewhat a little bit slightly different. The estimate of the parameter collected from the data in the sample. So we are unable to take a census. We are unable to find the exact true answer because we can't ask everybody in the population. There just might be too many students. There might be whatever, it's not just students, right? How many fish have 4 gills versus 3 gills? I don't know if that's something that actually happens or whatnot. But if I was going to go out there into the real world, I can't possibly catch all the fish in the world. I can take a sample of those fish. That's the whole idea. Okay? Now, the statistic that we are using from 8.2, the statistic that we are looking at from right here is called p hat, which is the sample proportion. And this is calculated as x over n. P hat is x, the number of successes, which we found from our previous unit, divided by n, our sample size. This is what you did in your do now. If you want to find p hat, how many in your sample said yes, divided by how big your sample was. Okay? That's the first half of the lecture part. That's what the first half of what I was talking about. So just as a reminder, X is the number of successes in the sample, and N is the sample size. Yes. P hat. What does P hat mean?
Write it in words, it will help you. If you write it
The
in
sample
words.
proportion. The sample proportion. Which is what type of variable? It is these notes that was inside the Amplify about the conditions, which again, we know one of those conditions, you've already done them. You've already did it when we talked about Bernoulli to the normal, approximately normal part. So this is very important. Now, if certain conditions are met in the sample, then the sampling, oh, no, you already wrote these, huh? I'll cover it afterwards. I'll just keep going with this. The sampling distribution of the sample proportions is approximately I'm not going to spell the whole word approximate out there. Normal. Now, basically what I'm saying here is that, and again, this is the visual you saw in your notes. Basically what we're saying, or what I am saying, not basically, but if I were to, approximate normal looks like this. If I were to take a bunch of samples, p-hats, p-hat, a bunch of p-hats, and I were to do them all, then they would look approximately normal, okay? This is what all possible samples of size n would look like if graphed. Now, that's what a sampling distribution is. So when I talk about this sampling distribution right here, this sampling distribution, this is what we're saying the sampling distribution looks like. What is a sampling distribution? Basically, all right, let's say there's 100 students in the school, okay? If I take a sample of size 20, how many different ways can I take a sample of size 20 from 100 students? You actually could figure it out. We've actually learned how to do this. There's a mathematical thing that allows us to do it. I'm going to pull that screen back up. I'm just going to pull this calculator up. And while I'm giving you time to while I explain this part, it's called combination. So if I do 100, sorry, the way you do this on this calculator is I go math, probability, NCR, 100, choose 20. This is how many possible ways I could find 20 from 100 people. That number is ridiculously large. That's like 5 million millions. I don't know. It's like 5 gajillion different ways. If I took 100 and I was picking out 20, how many different ways can I pick out 20 from 100 students? A whole lot of ways, all right? A number that's even too big. And if I graph all of the results from all the possible 20, that graph would look like this. That's what we also, and again, this isn't not an AP level, but in college, we call that the theoretical sampling distribution. What you have done in your examples when you took samples, we took a simulation of it because there's no possible way. Technology can't give us this many. How many samples would we actually have to do? This is how many samples. Technology cannot even get to that number because that's how so many there are. So it would look almost perfectly normal. We have a mnemonic device, and this is the last major piece of our notes. We use what is called SIN. SIN is our mnemonic device of checking. The first one is the sample random? The answer here is that the sample is random. Or do you have to assume that, okay? So most of the times we'll say the sample is random. And so you'll say the sample is random. If I don't say the sample is random, what are you going to do? You're going to assume the sample is random. All right, so if we don't say that it's random, unless we say something that's really like, that's definitely not random. If I said we sampled 100 of our closest friends, is that random? Can you assume that's random? No. So you would say, fails. It is not random, and therefore the conditions fail. You cannot move forward. Okay? But it has to be something explicitly told to you that it's not random. And if not, we're going to assume it's random. The next one is called the 10% condition. And this one gets a little tricky sometimes. 10% condition, which states that the sample must be less than 10% of the population. Okay? So, for example, if there's 100 students, what's 10% of 100? 10. So the most students, the most I can sample is 10. If I sample more than 10, if I sample more than 10%, it fails. Okay? For example, if I just said I'm going to sample 100 students, is that less than 10% of all students? Of all students, just period. Yes. There's millions of students. 100 is definitely less than 10% of all students. And finally, N, which is the normality check, which we also call the success failures condition. Okay? And we've seen this in our previous notes. It says N times P must be greater than or equal to 10, and N times 1 minus P must be greater than or equal to 10. Okay?
It's always 10%.
The other one, that's the I, is yes, it's always the 10% condition. If this is true, this is true, and this is true, then we say the sampling distribution. Yeah, we're right on the last thing, is approximately normal. And what is the mean? We write the mean of p hat here, because we use the p hat because we're saying that it's proportions. What's the formula? This is what we saw yesterday and we saw today. Did anybody remember what the mean is? It's just p, whatever p is. And what's the standard deviation? We write a little p hat here. It's the square root, all underneath the square root. It's p times 1 minus p over n, and it's all underneath the square root. So it's approximately normal with those. And that's what we were kind of doing yesterday. So it's approximately normal, but what are the parameters of the normal model that we're using? We find it using the p, and then we use this one formula right here. After that, we can do more problems. Then we can ask questions, follow-up questions. What's the probability that less than 20% would say? More than 20, 40%? Then we ask those questions. That's what we have for you. We'll continue more notes.